Hey, what's up guys, Nick here. Today I'm bringing you a Black Ops 4 beta video. The beta was out on Xbox over the last weekend. Unfortunately, this video is not live. Usually I sit down and just play the game, but this time I didn't really have time with the beta to sit down with it, so I recorded some footage and decided to make a video in this style. So hopefully that's okay. Hopefully that doesn't take away from the video, because I know it's very different from what I usually do, but who knows. Maybe those make for a better video in some way. But if you guys didn't know, I have a very, very long history with the Call of Duty series. Call of Duty 4 was actually the first game I ever owned on my Xbox 360, and I absolutely loved that game. It was probably one of my favorite games I've ever played, to be honest. And then moving on through all the Call of Duties up until Black Ops 2, I absolutely loved them. And then whenever Call of Duty Ghosts came out, it kind of lost my interest. I don't know what about that game it was, but I just didn't love that game whatsoever. And then since then, I've just lost my interest more and more with each release. But I do have to thank Call of Duty for my channel's growth way back in 2016, because I made that Infinite Warfare Steals from Halo video. That blew up for me. That was like my first ever big video. So thank you, Call of Duty, because without you, my channel wouldn't be here right now. But I feel like every Call of Duty video that I make is a bit of a negative one, but I feel like I have nothing but bad thoughts towards the game these days, because they just keep making bad decisions, in my opinion anyway. And if you're a Call of Duty fan and you love this game, that is great. I'm happy for you. But as a long-time Call of Duty fan myself, I like to have my opinion. I like to give my thoughts on the game, and I just don't like where they've been bringing the games over the past few years. I know World War II was quite a big difference from Infinite Warfare, but this one is a weird hybrid, dude. This one is completely different from anything I think I've ever played. And that may sound like a good thing. Having a game that feels different from what you expect should be a good thing, but this one is like a weird hybrid. This one is like a mixture of every other popular game you can think of, all meshed into one, and it just does not feel right. And I actually did try to record a live video on the Black Ops 4 beta, but 1 minute I was loving the game, the next minute I absolutely hated it. So it's just a weird mixture of emotion. The game does not know what it wants to be. It wants to be like a modern shooter, but also classic boots on the ground. You have a grapple gun 1 minute, you have like some radiation thing you can set off, you also have a flamethrower. I don't know, it's like they don't know what game they want to make, so they just meshed everything from every other game they possibly could, hoping to please everyone with this one product. Take Titanfall 2, for example. It knows exactly what it wants to be. It's a very futuristic, very far in the future mobility in that game. You can have a grapple hook, you can run on walls, you can jump in massive robots. That's what Titanfall is, and that's why people enjoy this game. But then in Black Ops 4, for no reason at all, you have a grapple gun that you can use to fly about the map for no apparent reason. I don't know why it's in there. It doesn't really have any particular reason. It's like they know that people enjoy having a lot of mobility around maps, so they decided to put it in there. Or maybe they knew this new Spider-Man game was coming out in September, so they decided to put the grapple gun in there to let people warm up their slingshots or whatever. I don't understand the basis behind this decision, but I'm not gonna hate on it. You know, I will admit that it's fun to use. It just doesn't make that much sense to be in there. Another example of something they've taken from a different game is a barbed wire fence that looks like something that's straight out of Rainbow Six Siege. You know, put this on the ground, if you run into it, it slows you down. And I know that I sound like some blind Call of Duty hater. I'm like, yeah, Halo is the best game, woo. That's not me whatsoever. I literally want to enjoy Call of Duty. I want to like this series again, but I feel like these decisions by putting in these random objects or features that are great in other games don't really work in this game, unfortunately. Call of Duty was at its best when it was a run and gun shooter where you knew the best flanks, you knew what best weapons to use, you focused on trying to prestige your character, to try and beat your friends. That's when Call of Duty was at its absolute peak. But over the past few titles, Black Ops 4 is a prime example. They feel like they've lost direction. They don't really know what they want to do, and this is probably down to making so many games in the series that they've just ran out of ideas and they don't know where they want to take it. Look at Halo, for example. They come out with a new game every like 4 years or something like that, and every single game is an advancement, is something different from the previous title. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. That's all up to personal opinion, but they at least try and change the game up. Whereas with Call of Duty, I feel like every single time they come out with a release, it's just grabbing from many different games, trying to mesh together something that does not work for the Call of Duty formula. Back whenever I loved the series, it was all about getting your kill streaks, it was all about getting a nuke in Modern Warfare 2, it was all about trying to get the best streak possible. It was trying to be the best player you possibly could. But besides all the little features, the actual gunplay in the game does feel pretty solid. I have to give it that. The actual gameplay feels pretty good, but that is expected from a Call of Duty game. Call of Duty has always been a fun shooter game. There's no doubt about that. It has always been fun to just run about and shoot people. That's where it really is strong at. It's a really good arcade shooter. But Black Ops 4 does change this up a little bit, and it does seem your enemies do take a lot more bullets than they did before. The kill time is a lot lot longer than it ever has been in Call of Duty, which I like personally as a Halo player. Obviously the kill time is really high in Halo, so to have that in Call of Duty is pretty nice. You know, it feels good to have a little bit of a difference instead of just dying within half a second every single engagement you run into. But it does feel like sometimes people just sponge your bullets, and it can be very frustrating, as you now have to heal yourself as well. This is a brand new feature in Call of Duty Black Ops 4. You have to heal yourself instead of automatically regenerating, which I've never been a fan of in shooter games, to be honest with you, but I will give them props for trying something new to try and mix up the formula a little bit with this game instead of just keeping it the exact same. You know, the health is different, the way you heal yourself is different, so that's a plus, that's a good thing. I may not be the biggest fan of it, but for people that enjoy that kind of gameplay, you know, it's good for them, and it will definitely change up the meta of Call of Duty a lot whenever this one comes out. Now, moving on to the graphics of the game, Call of Duty has never really been known for its amazing graphics, and that makes me kind of sad. I would love to see a beautiful Call of Duty game, but it's just not what they focus on, which is okay, but I feel like the graphics have not changed at all in the past few years. Compare Black Ops 4 to Battlefield 5, which are both coming out around the same time this year. Look at the graphics and compare them. You'll see there is a night and day difference between both games. It is crazy, and it makes me wonder, what decision has Call of Duty made? Why have they decided to kind of stay safe and not change up their graphics and just kind of plunge into the new generation a little bit? Whenever I was downloading the game, it said Xbox One X enhanced, and I wasn't sure what this meant. I was kind of excited to see how good the game would look, and to be honest, I was very disappointed. It was laggy loading screens, the gameplay just didn't look that shiny, it wasn't that special on an Xbox One X, and I'm like, is this really a 2018 game? Like, it does not look that good at all. But in reality, the graphics don't matter that much, but as someone who enjoys looking at a pretty game as well as playing a game, you know, I'm kind of sad. I want a game to look good that I'm going to be playing every single day. I'll get bored of looking at it eventually. The game also had some serious lag, but I'm going to blame that on it being a beta, so I'm not going to judge it too harshly for that. That would be very unfair of me, but hopefully that is fixed by full release. Hopefully the game is sorted out by the time the game fully comes out. So all in all, my experience with the beta, I feel like it's not really advanced far enough. I feel like it's tried to copy other games a little bit too far this time. This one has really kind of taken the cake whenever it comes to trying splicing together other popular games or other games that had good ideas. They try to mix that into their own formula, and I just feel like it hasn't worked very well. The game almost leaves me confused more so than having fun, because I don't know what is going on. There's people flying over me with grapple guns, there's people radiating for no reason, there's people using a flamethrower, which is very frustrating. I don't know. It's just not a very well mixed game in my opinion. And not to mention, there's no campaign coming out for the full release, but we are getting a battle royale mode in Call of Duty called Blackout. The beta for that is coming out in September, so you already know I will be playing that, and I will make another video covering that and let you guys know what I think of the Blackout battle royale mode in Call of Duty Black Ops 4. It will be fairly interesting. I actually am pretty excited to play it, to be honest with you. There's vehicles, it's a really large map, so it'll be a fun time to try it out at the very least. Who knows, it might be a pleasant surprise, and maybe I'll play it more than the actual multiplayer. But if any of you guys tried the beta out yourselves, what did you think of the game? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you not know how to feel, a bit like myself? Let me know in the comments down below, because I'd love to read all of them and see your thoughts on the game. But if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like down below, and also drop a comment about anything that I mentioned. Let me know if you agree with my comments on it copying other games a little bit too much. And if you're brand new and enjoyed the video, make sure you hit subscribe. I would really appreciate it. More content coming on the way. Love you all. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Bye.